Hi everyone. So I sound horrible because I have the flu. But I did want to go over your quiz today. You should have gotten your quiz out of your boxes, and you should also have the sub should have given you notes that you are taking if you got the problem wrong. If you didn't get the problem wrong and you understand it, you may fast forward on to the next problem. But number 3, everyone needs to listen. All right, number 1. If you got number 1 wrong, what you did was you either didn't convert. They have to be in the same units. So you didn't convert meters to centimeters or centimeters to meters, but I prefer meters to centimeters because it makes it easier. Or you thought that there were 1,000 meters in a centimeter. There are 100 centimeters, in 1 meter. 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So I would have had to take the 6 and multiply by 100. And that would have given me 600 centimeters to 2 centimeters. Now I would simplify. So 600 to 2, which is 300 to 1. And that would be, in simplified form, the ratio. On question number 3, this is an algebra topic we did review, and I said this is where if you do this wrong, you're going to kill a kitten. I know none of you want to kill a kitten. You can't cancel the 3 and the 6 here. The 3a plus 21 is an expression with addition or subtraction. So you can't cancel through it. You're only allowed to cancel if 3a was being multiplied to 21, but it's being added or subtracted. So if it's an expression with addition or subtraction, you have to factor it. So see if there's a GCF in the top, which there is. If I take out a 3, I'd be left with a plus 7. Remember, factoring out the GCF. Now what we've created is 3 being multiplied. You know, parentheses means multiplied. So now I have 3 being multiplied to a plus 7. All right, and then on the bottom I have 6 all over a plus 7. Now, because these quantities, these expressions are exactly the same, you are allowed to cancel them. So then you'd be left with 3 over 6. But I think you know that if it was 3 over 6, that you would reduce that to 1 over 2. Okay, I want you to try one. Here we go. 4a plus 16 all over 4a plus 8. Press pause, try it, and then come back. All right, you're back. You cannot cancel the 4a's. Why? Because the expressions have addition and subtraction in both the numerator and the denominator. So you have to factor out a 4 in the top, giving me a plus 4, and you factor out a 4 in the bottom, giving me a plus 2. Now, the a plus 4 and the a plus 2 are not the same type of expression, so you cannot cancel them. But these 4's are being multiplied. They're monomials being multiplied to that quantity, so you can cancel them. So my answer would be a plus 4 all over a plus 2. That's how you simplify algebraic fractions. Okay, number 9, it was a proportion. Actually, everyone set it up right. You cross multiplied using the cross products rule, and you got 4x plus 28 equals 4x minus 10. Well, what everyone struggled with, not everyone, but a few of you struggled with was you all tried to subtract 4x, which is right, but then they canceled. So you would have gotten an equation, that said 28 equals 10. Now in Algebra 1, you learned that you have to see if the equation becomes true. This is a false statement. 28 does not equal 10. The variables canceled out, so this would be there's no solution. And that can happen in proportions, okay? All right, let's try number 10. Okay, this was one of those proportions that involved quadratics, okay? So when you cross multiply, you should have had x times x on one side. And I keep telling you, take these expressions and put them in parentheses. So you have 2 binomials that you have to add. Now you can FOIL, but I suggested doing Punnett squares. So I'm going to do that off to the side. Do not do it under it, okay? Sorry, I'm kind of losing it over here. So I have x and a 5, and I have x and a positive 2, and then I find the area of each square. So I get x times x, which is x squared, 5 times x, which is 5x, 2 times x, which is 2x, and then 5 times 2, which is 10. Okay, so that I add all those together, I have 1x squared. I combine these like terms, the 5x and the 2x, to get 7x, and then I have plus 10 equals x squared. So it is a quadratic. However, when you subtract the x squared to both sides, it goes away. It becomes 0. So now I have 0 equals 7x plus 10. And then I subtract 10, and I get 7x equals negative 10, and divide by 7. And that would have been a perfectly good place to leave your answer, negative 10 over 7. It didn't take off if you turned it into a decimal. Okay, I'd like you to look at question number 11. Most of you did okay. If you got 11B wrong, it's because you didn't recognize you had to follow the order the question was asking for scale factor. But the only consistent question that got wrong, I think 5 people got it wrong, was in 11E, they didn't know how to get the ratio of the perimeters. So recall that the scale factor and the ratio of the perimeters are exactly the same. And so since it was going from the small to the large one in the question, it would have just been 3-to-1. No work needed. Scale factor is the same as the ratio of the perimeters. Why? Because if you use the scale factor to get each side of the figure, then they're going to be in that proportion, even when you add them. Okay, this question. So I think some of you just didn't separate, number one. These are overlapping triangles. You do want to separate them. And then I think a lot of you thought that weren't really sure where the x belonged. So I separated the two triangles, but making sure that I marked the angles I knew to be congruent to help. So it would have been x and 16. Because if you missed it, that's the one you missed, was the x. So the first thing I did was I got my k, my scale factor, which would have been 12 over 15. So 3 goes into both of them, so 4/5. I wrote a proportion for x. 4 over 5 equals 16 over x. I chose not to cross multiply because I saw 4 and 16, so I rewrote it using the properties of proportions, tops over, bottoms over. And I simplified 4 over 16 into 1/4, cross multiplied here, so x equaled 20. And then on the last one, I did the same thing. I did 4 over 5 equals y over y plus 5, and I cross multiplied. You should have gotten a y of 20. So if you didn't get it, try it again. All right, last question. The only mistake a couple of you made was writing that as 6.3. Okay, sorry about that. I had a coughing fit. So 6 feet 3 inches. 3 inches is 3 over 12 because there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So it would have been 1/4. So then his height would have been 6.25. Then you could write an equation or a proportion. 4 over 6.25 equals 21 over x, because the building shadow was 21. Some of you turned it into inches. That's much harder. I wouldn't have done that. So I want you to try that one again, and hopefully this cleared up any questions you have on your quiz. I want you to put that in your folder, and then you go on to the 7.5 video. It's a partial video. It tells you to start on the Pearson site. It tells you to start at a certain time because it also includes section 7.4. If you feel like you need a review of 7.4, watch the whole thing. All right, guys, have a great day. Sorry I'm not there.